Hello, everyone. The last session was great. I can see that the we still have audience to waiting for the next session. So thank you so much, whoever is watching us now. So few individuals have made us profound an impact on the field of technology. As our next speaker, Ravi Verma, he is a professional with over 2 decades of experience, and he's just not a speaker but a tech enthusiast who thrives on challenges. His journey began back in college, where he would lose track of time in computer labs, coding, and debugging tirelessly. His dedication led to his very own Celeron desktop, which he cherished for years. What sets Ravi apart is his unwavering passion for the problem solving. The same rush of energy he felt when fixing bugs during those late night coding sessions still drives him today. So over the years, he has lent his expertise to renowned enterprises like Wipro, HP, CA Technologies, and ROA, providing invaluable support to the customer and partner worldwide. Today, we have the privilege of learning from his expertise on the topic of beyond backup, enhancing security with anomaly detection and monitoring. Thank you, Ravi, for joining us. The stage is yours.
Thank you so much, Pooja. First off, quick check if I'm audible or not.
Yes,
And
yes.
yeah, I kind of really was giggling away as you were trying to kind of announce me, and you took me back in the memory lane for sure about my desktop. Back in the day, it used to be a competition between Celeron and Intel, and folks who didn't have a lot of money ended up getting Celeron, right? Anyways, nevertheless, if we can spend a lot of time talking about my past, but that is something that I draw parallels to what I do today, and my job responsibilities include solving customers' problems. And day in day out, I do that, and I always look at it as to why I do this and why I'm so happy and fulfilled in solving problems. And that kind of took me back to what I used to do and what made me interesting or interested in computers and its technology, right? But one thing remains very common throughout the years as technology has evolved, which is the grassroots level knowledge or the basics of any field. So that's something that I always talk about, encourage folks to invest time on that. Yes, technology has gone far and beyond, but the basic grassroots level bits and bytes are still the same. And unless we really invest time in understanding the bits and bytes, uh, we really won't be able to kind of make an impact in terabytes, if that's an analogy, right? So today we are going to talk about something called as anomaly detection and monitoring. In itself, it's a very large topic, and anomaly detection and monitoring can be in all kind of fields. Now, I am predominantly working in data backup, so that's where I want to kind of attract everybody's attention, because when you talk about cybersecurity or when you talk about security per se, data backup is always an afterthought. Data backup does not really take the prime slot in your mind. It is always something that, okay, data backup, okay, but let's figure out uh, threat modeling, and let's figure out the cyber resiliency, and let's figure out what kind of firewalls, and let's figure out all seam and SOAR tools that we will want to implement, and how we will go about DLP and all fancy stuff. But the data backup is forgotten. And when you look at enterprises today, most of the time when incident happens, it means all your gizmos have failed. All those fancy gizmos that you put in has clearly failed. And now you have only two choices. One is either you pay the ransom, or you have capabilities to bring yourself back up on your feet. And at this juncture, I really want to attract everybody's mind toward data backup, because if you have a solid data backup strategy or very strong data backup vendor that supports your use cases, chances are that you don't need to pay anyone anything, because no matter what, your data is protected because of the backups, and you can always bring it back based on your RTO and RPOs, which pretty much makes you resilient in the times today. Now, that's one aspect of data backup, that it pretty much makes you invincible. But how does it fit in the overall security strategy that you are building for your organization, right? So that's what we will be talking about in this session. And as Pooja mentioned, I am Ravi Verma, and I've been working in data backups for about 20 years, and that's what I do. And I always talk about data backups, restores, disaster recoveries, different applications that you can protect, and whatnot. So if you want to learn more about data backup, you can hit me up on any of the platforms that you can find me on, right? So with that, moving on towards the agenda that we have for today is, well, the introductions. We did discuss about what we want to talk about, and a little bit about me, and we want to understand the importance of anomaly detection. Very specifically, we'll talk about anomaly detection. And always keep in mind that when I do talk about anomaly detection, it's going to be with respect to data backup. It's not going to be about your network traffic, wherein you can detect the anomalies in your packet transfers, or any other kind of anomaly that you could or would want to detect. I'm only going to talk about backups, right? And how you can leverage and enable yourself and be more proactive with this functionality. We'll talk about how or various factors of implementing anomaly detection in your security posture in using data backups. And we may want to talk about, if time permits, we may want to talk about certain use cases, and obviously we would conclude after that. So without taking a lot of time, let's talk about the importance of cybersecurity today, and why like a single prong approach is not enough. You need to have multiple layers of security, right? There are customers that I work with who will have more than two antiviruses in their environment. The same servers may have two or three antiviruses. Then they'll have firewalls. Then they'll have DLP software implemented. Then they'll have some intrusion detection products implemented, and whatnot, right? And still they might be calling us to get help to recover their data because they were impacted. So no matter what you do, it attack will happen, because not that I'm trying to uh, look down upon any technology, but I'm just trying to ensure that everybody remembers that there is a third pillar of security, and that is data backups, right? So when you kind of invest a lot of time in ensuring that your perimeter is safe, nobody is able to even attack or penetrate in your perimeter, then you start focusing on nothing goes outside your network or your perimeter that you've defined. You also need to keep in mind, what if it happens, right? So most of the time, what we see is strategists would be focusing more about securing the perimeter, and then ensuring that everybody is aware, processes, policies, procedures are built around making sure that people really operate in a certain manner that they ensure that the whole perimeter is secured. And that's where overall focus is. And then comes the obviously risk planning, and that's the only time when people start thinking about what if. So my focus in this session is like the what if should be thought through at the very beginning of your strategy building planning, right? So that is where you think about what if there were to happen a cyber incident, what would you do, right? So that's where you start planning about your cybersecurity uh, implementation of different tools at different layers, and ensuring that what if, who's going to save you, right? And that's where your data backups would come in, and that's where you increase the priority and really think through your backup strategies. So that is why it is very important. And if you want to look up and any of the latest and the greatest incidents that you've seen or that are happening right now, you would realize that more often the users are ending up either paying the ransom, or they are covered by insurance. So they really are getting away with it. Or at times they would work with third party vendors to do data recovery, wherein you have data recovery from the real hard disks. You send it for forensics, and then within that, they would review everything, clean up, and then give you the data back. Or you would be working with your data protection vendors and have them help you recover your data. Now, remember, recovering data, terabytes of data would take time. So, yes, it will be time consuming. But those are the give and take that you end up balancing in such incidents. Now, with that, I hope it's understood why it's really clear, why it's really important to have a multi-layered security approach in today's world, given that your threat actors are evolving every second, right? They're evolving every minute, every second. No matter what advancements you do in your protection technology, the same level of advancement is happening in the offense technology, right? So people are really, really smart about what they're doing, smart about their attacks, and sometimes you would like you would faint laughing, because some of the incidents have happened because of phishing or smishing, or maybe a bad actor within the organization, somebody who was grumpy enough, somebody who was not taken care of, and you see that a huge impact that has happened to your organization because of that. So yeah, everything is important, and everything becomes part of your cybersecurity strategy. So now we would want to talk about and spend most of our time on anomaly detection, right? So I've been saying this word like 10 times now, but what is it? What is anomaly detection? And what is the role of anomaly detection in cybersecurity, right? So, as the word says, anomaly, right? Anomaly is not normal, which means you have a certain flow of anything, you may say, right? Your network traffic, your current situation, your daily routine. If you're going in the normal flow, it's the normal flow, and then suddenly something happens, that's an anomaly. So you go to office every day and suddenly COVID attacks, that is an anomaly, right? 2020, we all know that it was a huge anomaly in all our lives, and that has disrupted the whole industry, right? So that is an anomaly. So having said that, what does it, or how does it really matter for us, and how does it kind of fit in data protection, right? So I'm not sure if anyone attending right now has some background with data protection. If yes, you would know that when you're protecting your data, which means when you're backing up your data, it's more than copy, right? So we don't do copy of data. We basically read your data on your source servers, then we generate our hashes, Then we do deduplications around that. Then we make sure that we are not copying everything. We're only copying, or we're only moving certain data blocks which are new, right? And there are a plethora of concepts around it, and you could kind of review and read them and understand how that works. There are source side deduplication, there's destination side deduplication. You've got data domain devices from Dell which does destination side of deduplication, that when you put the data in that, it does a deduplication and kind of compresses them. So all kind of technology has advanced in data backup as well, but can that be leveraged? Right, today, we if I have to do backup, the most important question, or the most asked questions by customers are, uh, what RTO and RPO will you be able to give, right? Which means, how fast can you move my data, which means back to the source, which means restores. How fast can you do the restores is my RTO. And how far can you, or how soon in time can you provide me the data back from, which is my RPO, right? So these are two important questions in our daily life of a data protection officer. Now, when I say that, we read everything in you, but whatever you're protecting, right? Let's say you've allocated 10 servers that you want to back up, and those are your most critical servers. So if you put it to any vendor, like any third party or any vendor, they would basically install their agent on those machines and then do a backup, right? So you could have a on-premise backup utility, or new age backup vendors would provide you a cloud backup utility, which basically a tiny agent sits on your machine, and that tiny agent connects to the cloud servers and then moves the data, right? Now, if you have an on-premise backup solution, you don't really worry about, or you get benefits of faster backups and restores because it's within your network. If you're doing with cloud, your data transfer rates are limited because you're going over a WAN. So technology of learning about the amount of data that you got to move has really scaled up, right? So when you do that, when the technology has scaled up, which means you have those capabilities of really reading your data on a daily basis, because your data is being backed up every day. So your agent is reading your data every day. Now, that's where the key lies of anomaly detection, right? You're basically reading the data every day on all your critical servers that you have signed up for protection. So the agent is reading it every day, which means, given 10, 15, 100, 30 days, the agent now has a database which tells from day 1 to day 30 how much data on a daily basis is being backed up, right? Now, if somebody comes in and deletes like 50% of that data, the next day when you're backing up, you see there's a difference, right? The graph that shows if you're backing up 10 terabytes every day, then on the 31st day, you would see it's just gone to 5 terabytes. And that's an anomaly, which means your data trend has gone down drastically. So what happened? Did you delete the data? Maybe, quite possible. But somebody has to ask that question. And that is what I'm talking about, anomaly detection. A lot of products in the market till recent times were just sitting idle and not doing anything about that piece of information, right? We're not talking about customers' data as in reading their files, right? That is not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the metadata, which means data about data, and it pretty much tells you the trends of what you're protecting, that you save and in your databases, so that you make sure that you're not protecting same data twice. You're not taking more money from the customer, and you're capturing only the unique bits. So at that point, when you're able to understand that there is an anomaly, do something about it. That is exactly what is anomaly detection. Now, how do you do that? There are at least five algorithms available. You could do hash based, you could do heuristic based, you could look at data trends, plenty of that. We're not talking about that, right? We're just talking about very basic stuff here. So I hope I made it clear as to what Anomaly is and what I'm talking about and what backup vendors could do, right? So, to give you a more enhanced vision of what I'm talking about, here is a kind of a representation that you can look at, right? So, as you're backing up your data every day, which is basically your learning period, the tool's learning period, that it is learning as to how much data is coming in, what kind of data is coming in, how much data is changed every day. So, if you're a music company, you'll not have PDFs, you'll not have data files, you'll not have CAD files, you'll have MP3s, you'll have MP4s, you'll have WAV files, you'll have MIDI files, you'll have all those kind of files, right? So if you're a music company, which means you'll have music files, and all of a sudden, all those music files have changed to PDFs, hypothetically. You know that as a data vendor, you know because you're reading that every day. And now you know that, well, till yesterday I was backing up all music files. Now I'm backing data file, Excel files, or doc files. Why not let the user know, right? So that's the first part of it. So we are trying to back up the customer's data. We read the data and we kind of figure out what is getting backed up and how much is getting backed up and how much is getting changed every day, right? So all of that is stored, and most of the data vendors today have reports around it. Are you still able to see my presentation? Just okay, I see it. So I think we've lost the visibility of the image.
No, it's visible. The presentation is visible. I think you stopped sharing it. Okay, it's visible now. It's up and visible. But you are on mute.
All right, so I just reshared it once again, and thank you, Shivani, for telling me that I was on mute. Uh, so back to this section over here. If you focus, this is where we are kind of reading customers' data, right, as to what we want to back up, and this would be the learning phase. That is where we are learning as to what we are backing up, how much we are backing up, what is the change rate from the customer side, and once it is backed up, then we would also come up with the deduplication rates and stuff, right? So we kind of get that, and then it goes in the motion. So your first full backup happens, then you have a certain period of learning, let's say 30 days of learning. So once you had a full backup and then you had incremental backups for, let's say, 30 days, so now you are able to build a baseline saying that, okay, now I have enough number of days that I've been backing up the data, and I know that every day you would have like 500 megs of changes, and these changes would generally happen during, if you have multiple backups during the day, then you would basically also know that these changes generally come during the, like, 11 Eastern to 3 Eastern. That's when you get these changes. And if you really want to know more, then you can also tell what kind of files are being changed. So all of that you found by 30 days of data that got backed up. So you can say that, okay, this is my baseline, right? 200 meg of data every day and X type of file every day. Now, this keeps happening, and suddenly something happens on the network, and these files get encrypted, let's say. So now the 30th or maybe on 50th day, you're again backing up. You would kind of look at the graph would look at and see that it's something has changed from the baseline. It'll spike. Maybe your change rate just goes up because everything is now new. Your change rate shoots up the roof, and as a vendor, you're looking at it. If you have your alerting module set up, if you have your loggings enabled, it'll throw the logs. Your seam tools would kind of capture that logs and send an alert. And once you get that alert, you're there to kind of take actions. You phone the customer, tell them something's gone wrong, and then they could take actions on it, right? That is how powerful your data backups could be if it is merged with anomaly detection. So that's one piece of it. Then you have users management when your users are keeping coming in and trying to log in. For your instance, yesterday I was trying to log in on one of my bank accounts, and fortunately, unfortunately, I lost my password. And then when I was trying to log in 5 times, I got an SMS saying that you've tried 5 times to log in your account. Is it you who's trying to log in? Obviously, it has already disabled my account. That's an action based on the anomaly that it detected. Because generally, I would log in the first attempt and I'll be able to log in. This time, I was trying to log in for 5 times and couldn't. So it was an anomaly from the normal. And they alerted me saying that, hey, you've tried to log in 5 times, you're not able to log in. So we think someone else is trying to do it. So we blocked you. Try again tomorrow or call our support, right? So that's anomaly detection. And if we start kind of implementing such technology, easy to achieve, yields high results in terms of protection. So this needs to be the new status quo for any vendor who's in the market right now. So that's very important for us to kind of understand. Having said that, uh, what is the most important thing that you or anyone or any strategist would look for when they're defining their cybersecurity strategy? Right? That's an important question. You have the answer on the screen, which says proactive threat detection. Right? What does that mean? Well, when you're when you're planning your strategy, or let's say you're in the event, incident happened. What is the most precious thing? It is time. You're doing 10 things, 100 things at the same time, and every second matters when you're in an incident, right? Even if you take 5 minutes extra to pull the network cable, you might have lost like tens of thousands of dollars. So that is how important time is when you're in an incident. So proactively identifying some anomaly or proactively getting alerted about certain situation, really really important. And one of the recent incidents that I was part of, one of our customers was impacted and we were able to kind of alert them before time. And I take pride in that because being a data backup vendor, we were the first ones to alert them, given they have plethora of security vendors working with them. We were the first ones to alert and then also help them recover. So it's a powerful tool or weapon to protect you against threats, which means number one, data backup should be part of your security strategy. Number two, while you're making choices around data backup, you should look for vendors who are providing you these kind of functionalities, which is UDA, right? Anomaly detection or unusual data activity or some kind of an alerting mechanism that they have in their product, which enables you to manage your uh, environment as well as your backup environment. Both are equally critical. So these two are very important points, and that kind of gives you an edge over any other company who's just focused on the first two pillars, wherein you're securing perimeters and you're making sure that inside everything is neat and clean. The what if really makes you strong. And as a conclusion, Anyone who's listening, who's a programmers, developers, it's very important that you log everything. With my personal experience of building these utilities or functionalities within the product, uh, something that has come up really as an outlier, that unless the logging is really neat, you won't really be able to build such capabilities easily. So log everything. Yes, it might be a challenge at times for kind of size of logs, but unless you log that, you won't give the handles to the operations to kind of pick those handles and work with. So logging is very important, and I mean, that's the starting point, right? And unless you log it, you won't be able to detect it. So that's very, very, very important for everybody who builds the products. And once you do that, the army would be there ready to pick up those handles and kind of work with that and help the customers really, really be proactive and help them within the time. So, with that, I would like to conclude my discussion today. If there are any questions, comments, please let me know. Okay, I do see there are certain questions. So, do you think data quality issues would affect the anomaly detection in backups? So, when you call data quality, there's a question to uncover there, because what do we mean about data quality? Because at the end of the day, whatever data you have, right? When we say data, uh, we're not talking about normalized data. We're not talking about data within databases, but we're talking about just raw data that you have, right? Files, folders, databases, images, music files, movie files, whatever you have and whatever you want to protect, right? That's the data. The data type definitely plays a role, because it can vary in terms of time it takes to move those kind of files. So yes, data types definitely impact or has a role to play in data protection.
All right. I don't see any other questions. So, if people who are watching have questions, please connect directly with Ravi over LinkedIn. We have posted about this session everywhere on our social media handles. And Ravi, I would really want to thank you for your time and explaining us about backups and how it affects the cybersecurity realm as well, and how important it is for people who are into security. With this, thank you so much for being part of ClipCon. I wish to see you next year as well. Thank you.